main laboratory.
Can you beat the Marauder with only your fists? Can you beat the Marauder with only your fists?
Can you beat the Marauder with only your fists?
I survived because the fire inside burned brighter than the fire
I
around
had
me.
over 40 pizzas in the last
I
30
fell
days.
down in that dark chasm. The flame burned on and on.
Doom Eternal, a video game where your only objective is to shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
You would not believe your eyes. You would not believe
so well to me. And to let you die and be my life. I love you. I love you.
Now you might say, it's pretty easy to shoot a hole into the surface of Mars. But there's just one problem. And that problem is carrying a really big axe.
You are nothing but a usurper, a false idol.
You will never shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
This is the Marauder, arguably the toughest enemy in the game. Actually, no, the toughest enemy in the game.
Please, bro. I have a wife and kids.
Equipped with a massive shield, he is virtually invulnerable to damage. Unfortunately, his adopted family lives on Mars right where you want to shoot a hole.
Your home?
So he will do anything in his power to stop you. To clown on him and his loved ones, I decided to kill him without any weapons, good old discombobulation style. You encounter different Marauders throughout various environments during the campaign, but to make it harder on myself, I chose the first encounter, set in a very small room at the top of a lab building, which basically made the fight into a cage match.
Hey, Freak Joe! You're going nowhere! That makes two of us.
I played on Nightmare, the hardest difficulty in the game, and with no idea of the shaking and crying I was about to get myself into, I began my first attempt.
If anyone needs to sneeze, do it now.
Warning. All armed personnel, the mortally challenged have entered the compound. Evacuation is advised.
Why am I still getting hate?
Warning. All armed personnel, the mortally challenged have entered the compound. Evacuation is advised.
50 cal, rockets, didn't do a thing.
Warning. All armed personnel, the mortally challenged have entered the compound. Evacuation is advised.
After 10 more minutes of getting absolutely sister slapped, I reached a conclusion. Your melee attack does nothing. It does nothing. Unlike certain other games where your fists are stronger than your weapon, melee in Doom Eternal does about as much damage as a 2016 YouTuber diss track.
if you offer me gum, I'ma say no, never.
They need to be quarantined from planet Earth immediately.
Luckily, I had a special attack up my sleeve called the Blood Punch. A Blood Punch is basically a regular punch upgraded 1,000 times over. While a demon may be unkillable with a regular punch, a Blood Punch can take it down in just 2 hits. If you aren't familiar with Doom's mechanics, the primary way to charge your Blood Punch is to finish off a demon when their body flashes and execute a glory kill. My new method was to shoot the smaller demons, glory kill them until my Blood Punch was charged, then wait for an opening and smack the Marauder, then rinse and repeat. To prepare, I upgraded my skill tree so that any health and armor I picked up when I didn't need them would go to my Blood Punch. I also upgraded my suit so that my dash recharged on glory kills. The dash was an essential part of this fight, as it was the only way to outrun the Marauder and dodge his projectiles, so I needed it ready at all times. The last step was to prepare my physical body.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Bro! Back off, back off.
Challenge has entered the compound. Evacuation is advised.
Okay, on X Games.
After a whole day of trying to beat this guy, I became aware of just how much of this fight was built against a melee-only playstyle. Fighting the Marauder is all about distancing. If you're too far, he'll throw projectiles. If you're too close, he'll use an unblockable shotgun attack. But if you're in the middle, he'll swing his axe, which is the only time he's vulnerable. Problem is, whenever I would glory kill the smaller demons to charge Blood Punch, he would run up next to me, wait for the animation to end, and shotgun me in the face. You know how in middle school kids would puppy guard you during Sharks and Minnows?
Puppy guarding is like, let's say if we were playing a ball game, you would have the ball. It's like, let's say we're playing like manhunt, and like you go, and like someone's trying to tell you can't like stay close to them like the whole game. That's puppy guard.
That's pretty much what it was, except he didn't tag you, he gave you a shotgun slug to the face. I would then be forced to run away from him until I got back enough health to safely try and punch him again. Punching him successfully would stagger him for a moment so I could dash away and regroup, but sometimes when I went to punch him, a hit wouldn't register, and I would be open to punishment via shotgun blast or axe. Sometimes he would even act like he had a mind of his own and cancel his attack for another one. I understand that a boss fight on the hardest difficulty is always going to seem impossible, but when the boss behaves in a way that the player can't predict or even react to, that's when the fight becomes infuriating. Even fighting the regular way with a full arsenal of weapons, he's a bit broken, as explained by the Act Man.
What the Marauder actually does is halt the fluid combat of Doom Eternal down to a crawl. He is the only enemy in the game that forces the player to slow down, the polar opposite of every other philosophy and encounter we've had thus far.
And then, a holy light rained down from heaven. After searching through all the upgrade menus again, I found a perk I had somehow skipped over before, Saving Throw. Survive one death blow and briefly slow down time, giving you a chance to recover. This was the second chance I was waiting for, the G Fuel that would reignite my fire and help me finally shoot a hole into the surface of Mars. I got back on Doom, and this time, the game itself was alive and wanted to game end me. The game crashed mid-fight.
Bro, are you serious?
I died what felt like hundreds of times to getting stuck on demons. I mashed my keyboard and almost got more tilted than I do solo queuing in ranked Siege.
Your try, Scud.
To keep my cool, I started counting the number of times I landed hits on him before dying. I was usually around 6 to 8, but all of a sudden, I blew past and was at 12 hits. I knew if I failed now, my morale would be gone and I would have to try again the next day. I became hyper-focused. I was the doomslayer, and the doomslayer was me. The gameplay was frantic. I was screaming, the Marauder was screaming, and then, with one final effort, I went for it.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
This is definitely the hardest challenge I have done so far, but the feeling of accomplishment was worth it in the end. Throughout my personal playthrough of Doom, I had a lot of trouble with the Marauders, so it was like a personal mission for me to go full Logan Paul versus KSI on this demon. If you're skeptical about whether or not I did this on Nightmare difficulty or used my fist the whole time, the full video is up on my proof channel, and there are links in the description and in the comments section if you want to see the whole fight. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing. I usually do Star Wars challenges, but it kind of makes sense, right? Legends in helmets versus one legend in a helmet. Same thing. Thank you for watching till the end, and until next time, I'm just gonna say... Yo, this was a short little montage that was supposed to be in another video I was working on, but never came out. It was supposed to be like a Doom Eternal / Animal Crossing mashup. And no, I'm not trying to extend it over 10 minutes doing this because it's gonna get copyrighted anyway, but yeah. Basically, I'm just putting it in here so that the montage won't go to waste.